So there's been a pretty interesting development regarding Phibz since my last video made on them. Most notably, Gideon, who is a former YouTube prankster turned sort of predator poacher or catcher nowadays, has done an interview with Phibz. So I thought today we'd jump in and actually have a look at this interview and see if it was conducted in a way that I personally approve of. Because as we all know, my opinion and my approval is the only thing that matters in situations like these. So before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I said it in my last video, but I really do mean it. Daily uploads are on the horizon, so let's reach 400,000 subs by the end of next month. For now though, I guess we'll have a look at the interview. I guess first, I want to talk a little bit about how the very fact that Gideon is the one doing this interview irks me a little bit, because his whole thing nowadays is catching predators, and I don't think in good faith you can label Phibz as a predator or a pedophile or someone, at least someone on the same level as, I guess, the typical person that Gideon catches in one of his videos, which for those who are unaware, he does very sort of To Catch a Predator-esque style content, where he catches actual sickos who have traveled to a location with the specified intent of engaging in intercourse with an underage person or a very young minor. Phibz has not done anything close to that level, and nor have they indicated the intent or ability to do anything close to that level either. All we really have, in my opinion at least, if you've seen my last video, or if you've not seen it, I greatly recommend you watch it because it makes my thoughts pretty clear here. All we really have is very inappropriate and irresponsible messages from someone who's very mentally ill and got way too excited to have the small platform that they did, wasn't thinking too straight, and ended up saying some really gross shit in a Discord full of minors. But there was very clearly no predatory intent, in my opinion. I think this is yet another case of the internet massively overreacting and jumping on a hype train or a bandwagon of just bullying someone who is easy to bully. And quite frankly, I have less respect for every single person who suggested that I make a video on Phibz thinking that I would actually go in on them the same way that everyone else has. If you're interested in my opinion, that's one thing, but if you message me being like, yo, there's this sick fucking pedophile Phibz that you need to make a video on, yeah, I have less respect for you. You're an idiot. You need to make your own mind up and not just follow bandwagons, man, and learn to think critically, because it will serve you greatly throughout your life. Anyway, let's actually have a look at the interview, shall we?
Phibz, I appreciate you for doing this interview with me. Hey, so it's nice to meet you. Do you know who I am?
I think I have a little bit of context.
A little bit of context?
Like, you catch pedophiles, correct?
I do a lot of things. You know, I stream, I used to do pranks, I'm a child of God. You know, but I'm taking a break right now on my my EDP watch. You know, we're taking a little break right now, but we're just chilling. But yeah, so you know, you're not a stupid person, so I'm not gonna even treat you like it. I feel like you kind of like already know like what's kind of been spreaded on the internet and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, just to let you know, genuinely, like the reason why I'm talking to you is because I don't think you're a bad person. Like, you know how the internet is.
It's so, as someone who is familiar with Gideon's usual content and the EDP watch thing that he talks about, which is the name of his predator catching series, that's like a go-to line of his when he catches someone and his intent is to sort of allow them to open up or make them comfortable enough to open up, which is the whole, I don't think you're a bad person, I don't think you're a bad guy thing, because it makes them feel safe. I don't know if he's being genuine here when he talks to Phibz. It'll take me a couple minutes of watching to realize, like, does he genuinely buy into the whole Phibz is a pedophile thing? Like, is he genuinely that fucking stupid? You would hope not. You would hope not. For someone whose whole career is predicated nowadays upon catching these sick fucking people, you'd hope that is, I guess, like, pedometer, if you want to call it that, was in whack, right? Or not broken to the point where he thinks someone like this is as much of a danger to children as the regular people that he catches. But I guess only time will tell.
They're like, oh, Phibz is like this, so everybody else has to think like that. And I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna give you a fair shake, you know, because there's two sides to a coin, you feel me? And if you don't hear the other side, it's like, hey, that might be the most valuable information, you feel me? So, like, that's why I wanted to get your side. But I mean, before we get into any of that, like, what got you posted on TikTok and stuff?
Well, when I started on TikTok, like, I started very, like, basic TikToker. Like, I upload videos, I did my own thing. I think that's the thing that got me mainstream, is that I don't really care about people's opinions too much. So I started doing these things called in real life animation memes. I'm not sure if you heard of that.
Yeah, so like it's where you're like you're doing it so that way it's easier for them to do the edit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you do those videos ironically or is it unironically?
Kind of both. Depends on the real life animation. I mean, sometimes I do it to help those who need help with tweening. And then I also just do them for fun because I can.
Yeah.
So
would you say like you're out here trying to like give people confidence and stuff like that? Like, hey, be confident in who you are?
Absolutely.
I think it definitely was unironic to start with. I guess providing something for animators to trace over. It's a very real part of animation. It's an interesting part of the process for sure, but that's not like... I do think it was just them fucking around thinking, oh, this might go viral. Let me try it TikTok, you know what I mean? Maybe as time went on and they realized they were being made fun of for it, for example, they started to transition into, oh no, this was always ironic. I always meant this to be like a big joke because I'm really self-aware. I don't mean to be a dick here, but I do think self-awareness is something that Phibz struggles with quite a bit, and that might be what has led to a lot of these issues. And that's not necessarily even a slight against them, because self-awareness is very difficult to maintain, or not even to maintain, but even just to fully actualize to begin with. I'm definitely not there yet. You know, it takes a lot of genuine, I guess, soul searching, if you want to call it that, maybe some therapy. It takes a lot, and it's also very difficult to do when you're being lambasted online by hundreds and thousands, potentially millions of people for completely frivolous claims based on nothing. Again, I know that better than anyone.
I feel like a thing in like society in general is that everyone is always trying to be someone else.
Facts.
And I don't think that's right, you know? Like, you should be yourself. You should be proud of who you are.
No, I agree. I don't know if you ever watched any of my pranks, but you know, I used to get a lot of hate on there. Be like, oh, this dude's annoying, stuff like that. But I would have people come to me and be like, bro, man, you gave me inspiration to not care what other people think. Do my own thing. Be myself truly. I used to have some merch called Just Being Me, you know? So I'm real big on that too. So, you know, I genuinely, I respect the hell out of that. Truly. I guess, like, you know, what do your parents think about, like, kind of like your social media status and everything?
So, with my mom is probably like one of the most people that know about my social media status. Like, I would call her like my manager in that sort of topic, because she's helped guide me in what videos to post about the situation and what not to post about the situation.
Oh, so your mom knows about the kind of like the situation happening right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially on like to a point where like all sorts of shit has happened even in real life.
Really? If you don't mind sharing, like what happened in real life?
Okay, so at my school, this is the reason why I left. But at my school.
So wait, are you in college?
I was in high school because I didn't get enough credits.
Okay, so like, are you talking about like before, or are you still in high school?
I'm not in high school anymore. I was in high school like a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you just recently graduated high school?
I'm not graduated. I'm transferring over to a different program.
So all these completely bullshit claims have like really negatively impacted Phibz's life, whether it be like, you know, their family life, their school life. It's infected every part of it. And in my opinion, it's all based on total bollocks. You know what? We're gonna do a quick search of Phibz on YouTube, because I want to show you guys just how fucked up this is. Yeah, this is the one we covered last time, Bloodspeth, who like completely over-exaggerated the whole watching CP thing when it was like a 13-year-old liking a Twitter image of a bunch of anime 17-year-olds being drawn in like a lewd way, and they were over-exaggerating it to like the most annoying level fucking possible. But the thing is, it's not as though Bloodspeth is unique in this portrayal of Phibz online. This is how most people are treating it, because it, for some reason, happens to be the most popular way of going about the situation. It's like, oh my god, there's so many examples of this on the internet, and I think it is genuinely getting worse. You would think that with this being such a problem and so many people talking about it, well, the thing is, not enough people talk about it though. I feel like most YouTubers are fucking stupid, and they'll just say what they feel as though they need to say, or people want them to say, or what the safest fucking opinion is, because I don't know, because it's just safe, I guess. And then you get shit like that dad and his son, like, under the covers recently, everyone talking about how they were definitely fucking, or he was getting sucked off by his kid or whatever. It was all total bullshit. I will never forget that video. I will never forget the 2 videos I made on that, and the amount of shit I got for saying, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't be so quick to say that this dad is essaying his son based on absolutely fucking nothing. And people would talk about, oh, what about the popping sound in the video, which was very obviously just a bed creaking. And the amount of comments I got being like, no, that popping sound is so obviously the exiting of a finger from his arsehole, or the opening of a mouth that was on genitalia. And I'm like, you guys are fucking unhinged. How are we at this point where this is the popular opinion? This is the one. This is the thing everyone has bandwagoned towards. Don't get me wrong, I don't feel bad for that family because they're a fucking stupid family channel that bullies their children and exploits them online in an attempt for celebrity status, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't think the people who over-exaggerate the very obvious not essay going on in that video are fucking idiots.
I'm going to place a program in a college where it's all like you learn life skills rather than general education.
I mean, we need that. We need that in today's society. I swear, they just throw us to the wolves. They don't teach us how to. I didn't even know how to do taxes or anything. So the fact that you're getting skills like that, I mean, I respect the hell out of that. So what was the situation? Like, so you had to leave school because of kind of like all these allegations going around?
So to explain the whole situation, the staff found out about the allegations, but instead of asking me, like asking for my side first, they decided to straight up call the cops for the screenshots. They didn't even ask me, didn't even try to talk to me.
Your school called the cops on you?
Yeah. And so and then later, like a few minutes later after they called the cops, I figured out they called the cops. So it was all like, so I tested my mom because she was the one I trusted with all that, because she knows anything more about law enforcement than anyone I know. So I tested her and I was all like, hey, the cops are here. What do I do? She was all like, are you being detained? I was all like, no. Is anyone with you? No. Well then run.
So like, were the cops questioning you about the screenshots?
No, they didn't get to that part yet. They were talking with the staff. Because to be honest with you, I don't fuck with cops.
I don't feel that, man. I want you, just so you know, I'm not a cop or anything. Like, you're able to leave whenever you want and everything like that, you know. I just want you to know that, yeah.
What is he do? What is Gideon? What is this interview style, man? Again, that's something he would say to all the predators. As maybe he's legally required to do it in order for the police to actually take the case seriously. I don't know if he's doing it here ironically or if he's genuinely trying. Maybe he's just playing to his audience, who are definitely going to understand the reference, perhaps. But there's not even like a sly smile or anything there. I feel as though he genuinely thinks this is like good interviewing, but I'm not sure. He's not doing a horrible job so far. I guess what he's trying to do is lull her into like a sense of security, to where when he does bring up the harder topics, she feels as though she's in a more comfortable space because she's just spoken about her personal life quite a bit. It's not a bad strategy, I guess, but I don't know. I think the school calling the cops is fucking unhinged, though. Can we all agree on that at least? Like, at the very least, you call her in first. You ask her, what's with these screenshots? Are they real? Are they not? Then maybe call the cops afterwards if you want them to, like, verify whether or not anything actually happened. But to immediately go to the cops for fucking Phibz, of all people, I guess it just shows how unaware most I guess educational systems in America are when it comes to internet accusations, which I guess I can't really blame them for. They probably don't get shit like this happening very often, to this scale at the very least. I mean, whether or not it was the right thing to do in your opinion, I'm sure we can all agree that it sucks for Phibz, and I do feel really bad for them still. Fucking badass of a mum though, for just basically telling them to fuck off.
But anyways, where was I? Oh, so I ran from the school because fuck that. My mom picked me up, and then the next day...
Like, you legitimately ran?
Yes. I know that it wasn't wise of me because you shouldn't run from cops, but it was like in the heat of the moment type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next day, move over to next day. 2 different events happen. One kid started like shouting at me at the school, like, Phibz, she was 14. So I was all like, yeah, I'm not taking that. So I head over to the vice principal's office. But then my friend stopped me for a second. I was like, hey, what's up? He was all like, hey, the office just pulled me in, asking if I had any forceful sexual stuff with you, or or if I had any Discord messages with you. Like, the staff literally pulled some of my classmates in to talk to them.
You like your friends?
Yes.
How old are your friends?
That friend was 17.
Okay. Dang. So like the staff was. So did the staff ever try to get your side of the story, or did they kind of like?
No, and to be frank, I don't think they wanted it. They're like very ignorant people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds like the shittest school ever. I don't know if this is normal or how most schools in America would handle a situation like this, but this is fucking wank. And I absolutely believe them. Like, I don't think they're lying about anything that they have said in this interview or are going to say. Like, I genuinely believe that they are being completely honest here. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I'm definitely getting that vibe. And it's also really just not unbelievable to think that this situation would leak into your personal life in a way where people outside of your immediate circle of friends are just heckling you on the street. I remember I had some false accusations levied against me, and I went to Edinburgh one time for a few days, and someone came up to me and was like, oh, you're that fucking misogynist, didn't you? Yeah, made that video on you saying that you're a misogynist. And I'm not even like in school with a bunch of people, like surrounded by people who are aware of my channel. This is just in public. So for Phibz, it must have been so much worse, because I'm guessing everyone in Phibz's school was completely aware of Phibz's TikTok, and it was like a point of, it was something like that they probably bullied them over, if we're being real. So the second this comes out, it just gives them like sort of endless material to take the piss and make fun of them and be ableist probably. And yeah, that shit sucks. Like, I remember when it happened to me, I was just sort of stood there like, what the fuck do I even say to you? What do I even say? Because if I'm hostile in any way, shape, or form, you can go public about that, and the fucking idiot audience that already believe these accusations is just gonna go even harder on me. So I just sort of stood there and gave her like a sly white guy smile, like, yep, and then walked off. Because like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna engage. Like, why would you even say that to someone? I'm not gonna engage with you, you idiot.
You know, I watched the first video, and like, kind of like I saw, like, it was, to me, the first video I seen, it was kind of like a nothing burger. I would say like the only thing, and I think you would agree this wasn't a good decision, it's kind of like you were defending your friend that was saying that they were into CSAM and stuff, and like, I probably figure like if you had to go back, you probably wouldn't like say that or do that again, right?
Not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's not what happened. Oh my god. You have every right to defend that friend. That friend did nothing wrong. He's just another incredibly mentally ill kid who fucking liked 17-year-old anime porn at 13 years old. No one gives a fuck. Who gives a fuck? If you give a fuck, go away. Get off the fucking internet. You're too chronically online for it. I would say go touch some grass, but that might be so new to you that you'd spontaneously combust at the thought of it. So first learn what the color green is, because you've probably never seen it in your life. I don't know if maybe he's phrasing the question in a way to maybe like get an answer out of them, but like, she had every right to defend her friend in that situation, because her friend did fuck all wrong. In fact, I actually respect the fact that they were defending their friend who did nothing wrong, even though the internet was entirely against them at that point. That shows a level of like vindication and genuine closeness and real fucking friendship that most people don't have. Most people would have fucking folded immediately, which obviously she's now folding, but I give her fucking credit for not folding, even though the internet was being fucking stupid about it.
I was like, okay, you know, I'm sure she has a moral compass. And then there was a second video where there was, you know, two people who came out saying like, hey, things have happened. And, you know, I mean, one's 16, you're 19, that's pretty close. You know, it's like, nothing can really be done about that, right? But then there was the 14-year-old, his name is Vance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were doing some kind of like RP, what does RP stand for?
So here's the thing with that situation. Yes, roleplay.
Roleplay. Okay.
But here's the situation with all that. I never roleplayed with Vance, not like, we did this whole in-character call. We did that. But it wasn't like, it was more like a friendly type thing.
So it never got sexual at any point?
No. No.
Okay. Not. So like, you know, I'm just saying, like, did Vance maybe get carried away with it? You know, he's 14, he's talking to an attractive girl. Did he get a little carried away? Maybe kind of got a little sexual and you had to stop him? Like, hey, wait, get back in the role, get back in the character. Did that ever happen?
No. Vance never did that.
Vance never did that? Okay. So is that why he never really showed too much of, like, the interaction?
I have no idea. The minute someone sent me that post that Vance made, I immediately blocked him on everything. Oh. Including that 16-year-old that was involved.
Okay. I know you blocked him, and that's good, but do you still have any of those messages left? Like, because I feel like I feel like something that could really put this to bed. And, you know, if you want to send it to me later, like, I promise you I won't show it or nothing. Like, I'll just go over it, and, like, I'll just tell people, like, you know, if it looks sus, I'll be like, hey, there's some stuff in here. But, like, if it's straight, I'm gonna be like, yo, you know, she's telling the truth, man. Like, it was, like, pretty good. Do you still have those messages with Vance?
I would have to check.
You'd have to check, okay.
And I'll do that after, like, this call.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
So, I guess, like, so, did Vance make an allegation that the messages or the roleplay got sexual?
I have no idea. Like I said, I haven't seen the video he made.
Chat, did the Vance guy say that it got sexual in the messages?
But yeah, I didn't see the video he made. I'm trying to think if I have any info on it.
I guess we'll have to have a look afterwards if Phibz actually did send the screenshots over to him. I'm not convinced that it's, like, entirely valid, whatever the accusations are, though, just because everything regarding this situation has been total bullshit. I'm fully willing to admit that Phibz absolutely was doing inappropriate and unhinged and, I guess, irresponsible is the right word, shit, and made a lot of minors uncomfortable, perhaps. But once again, to call them a predator or predatory in any way, or a pedophile, which many people have been doing, is so many steps above what I deem to be appropriate that I can't help but defend and feel sorry for them. I feel like creepy is the most damning allegation you can make here in good faith.
To explain, like, my side of the story.
Yeah.
What, so with Bella, right? Because Bella was the actual one I was deciding to roleplay with.
And Bella's the 16-year-old, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Bella was the one I was actually deciding to roleplay with. We never did the roleplay. And if anything, like, it was going to be like an in-character light romance. It wasn't going to be like anything sexual or anything like that. But also, as soon as those allegations, like the new ones with Vance and Bella, got up, I immediately hit up my friend and was all like, hey, I have no idea what to do right now because what they're putting out, I just don't think I should make a video on it. Because my mom warned me, like, hey, if you post more allegation videos, it's going to, like, reach more people and get us more in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
So I texted my friend and she was all like, okay, I'm gonna be real with you for a second. Phibz, remove any and all minors from your DMs immediately. So I did exactly that.
And, like, was there, like, a lot of minors to remove from those DMs?
Not a lot below the age of 16.
Not a lot. Okay, so it was mostly like 16.
Thing is, I don't actually know if that was a good idea. I think in a situation like that, you probably want to keep all of the DMs if there's nothing wrong happening in them, so that people cannot use the fact that you deleted them against you. I'm sure they weren't talking to a lawyer here. They were just talking to someone who they trusted a lot, but I don't think that's good advice generally. I think if you're being accused of something as horrible as pedophilia and you happen to have minors in your DMs, already doesn't look good. But if you delete those DMs, you delete those minors from your chat history or whatever, that looks even worse because that really does seem as though you've got something to hide. Now, I've panicked and deleted messages before, and that definitely was used against me in the past, so I'm speaking from experience here slightly. I say slightly, wholeheartedly even. And the reason I deleted them is probably for the same reason why Phibz deleted them. I was scared of those being used against me, even though I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong, because the people who were messaging me said DMs, I knew were trying to sort of box me into something and use them against me in bad faith without presenting them in a fair and just way. So I thought if I delete them before they get screenshotted, then I won't need to worry about that. But unfortunately, I underestimated just how early they were planning to use it all against me, and they were screenshotting like as I was sending them essentially. But now, as someone who's a lot more experienced on YouTube, I understand that deleting messages is some pussy shit, and you definitely should not be doing it. As much as it really does feel like the natural thing to do when you're panicking as much as someone is in a situation like that, and as much as Phibz, I'm sure, was panicking when these accusations came out. Like, the very fact that there are that many minors in your DMs is already bad. Again, I don't think it makes you a pedophile, but it's bad, and you should know better, and you shouldn't be doing that. And it does make you you're not a particularly good person. Like, you do need to do a lot of work on yourself for talking to that many minors, period, even if it wasn't sexual. Especially because you say some of them are under the age of 16 as well. It's not on, in my opinion. You can't be doing that shit.
So, like, what was the youngest age that had to be removed, you would say?
I want to say like 14.
14? Okay, so 14. So there wasn't like one or two, maybe like 10 or 11-year-olds, nothing like that?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, so it was just strictly like 14, but mostly it was 16 and up.
Mm.
Okay. So I guess, do you think let's say there was a fly on the wall, right? And this fly saw you and Vance's roleplay conversation and read all the messages, right? And this fly is not on your side, and this fly is not on his side. What do you think that fly would say happened? Do you think he would be like, this was a pretty innocent encounter? Or do you think that fly would be like, this was some sexual, this was a little sexual? What do you think that fly would say?
I think it's a good question, even though obviously if it was sexual, Phibz is not going to say like, oh yeah, it was sexual, I was, sexual DMs with a 14. Obviously they won't say that, hence why, I don't know, they definitely panicked and deleted it. It doesn't look good. I do think messages with a 14, it's bad. It is bad. There's no getting around that. I'm not here to defend people no matter what the fuck happens. I'm just here to rebuke the accusation of fucking pedophile based on nothing. And even, because if it does come out that Phibz is a genuine pedophile, which I really don't believe that they are, it won't be because of any of the evidence that has surfaced as of right now. Like, based on everything that we have, pedophile is an incredibly inappropriate claim to make. There just isn't enough evidence for it at all. There is enough evidence for creepy, disturbed, mentally ill, inappropriate, and irresponsible behavior from someone who isn't of an age where they should know better. That much I'm completely comfortable in saying. I'm interested to hear what they have to say here, though. I would like to... The thing is, this is why you shouldn't have deleted those messages, because showing the actual messages with said 14-year-old and being able to display that there was nothing sexual going on in said messages, which I do believe there was nothing sexual going on, would... I mean, it would help her tremendously. At least in my mind. I don't know if people on the internet are actually able to think critically enough to where 19 and 14 doesn't automatically mean pedophile, depending on the context of the conversation, I guess.
That fly would say, yeah, I think it's like a misunderstanding. Like, I never taught sexually with Vance or Bella, and I can say that proudly in my message.
So what was the role play with the 14-year-old?
So with Vance, it was like a whole group. So it was like Thomas Sanders, sides. You probably don't know what that is.
I know. I mean, I'm a boomer. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But basically, to sum it up, it was like these 4 characters who are friends, I guess. And with all of them, we would do like friendly, like in-character interactions.
Okay. So you do like so it wasn't a one-on-one role play with you and Vance, is what you're saying, or was it?
Oh no. Any role play I did do was in like a public space, like in a group.
Okay, so there's people that were witnesses to this role play.
Yes. So
I guess why haven't any of them came out and was like, hey, I was in this role play with Phibz and I can attest nothing bad happened? Why isn't no one coming out to your side?
I legitimately have no idea. I will say that I don't think...
Well, no one has really come out and said that Phibz was doing anything predatory with actual evidence either, though. Like, every bit of evidence of pedophilia that we have is complete bollocks or over-exaggeration. There isn't really evidence either which way, and you don't need to prove that they're not a pedophile, you need to prove that they are one first. It's like, oh, are you a predator? No, I'm not. Well, you can't prove it, so you are. That's not how it works, man. The onus of evidence lies upon the accusation and not the accused.
Any of them were like in the right headspace. It was a lot.
So you said it was a group, but you still didn't like really say what the role play was. I think if people knew what the role play was, because it's like, let's say if you're playing GTA, you know GTA RP? Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're playing GTA RP and you're GTA RP and there happens to be a 14-year-old there, that's a lot different than, and nobody would be mad at you, whereas if you're freaking, a more kind of sinister role play with specifically it being egg.
Okay, so I can say...
Wait, everybody, what does egg mean? I'm so confused. Do you know what egg mean?
I have no. There's only one conclusion that comes to my head, which is, I had like this old haircut that would make me look like an egg. So it's the only conclusion I have to that.
This egg thing has completely derailed this fucking stream. Jesus Christ. Good professionalism, to be fair. I will say, that's actually a really good point that Gideon made there, which is that 19 and 14 roleplay situation does not inherently mean there's anything predatory or pedophilic going on, and gave the GTA roleplay example as a great example, in my opinion. As much as it might be weird, as much as it's probably something you shouldn't be doing, it's not inherently pedophilic or predatory. And the deletion of said messages, yeah, it looks bad, it isn't enough evidence to make that claim either. The standard of evidence that you need, in my opinion, to call someone a predator or pedophile is a lot higher than that.
Okay, my bad, my camera got turned off. No, okay, yeah, I was like, genuinely, I was like confused. I was like, okay, but, so can you let everybody know, because, people are gonna see this, and this is gonna get your side out, and I'm sure this is probably gonna change a lot of people's minds, but what exactly was the role play? Like, what was the scenario, what was going on, what was your character, and what was Vance's character?
Scenario, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 people.
Okay, 5 people.
Vance's character was named Logan. He was like a smarty, logical type character.
Okay.
I was Virgil.
Can you let everybody know, because people are gonna see this, and this is gonna get your side out, and I'm sure this is probably gonna change a lot of people's minds. But what exactly was the role play? Like, what was the scenario? What was going on? What was your character, and what was Vance's character?
Scenario. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 people.
Okay, 5 people.
Vance's character was named Logan. He was like a smarty, logical type character.
Okay.
I was Virgil, a guy with eye bags and a hoodie.
Okay. Was it an off-white hoodie? Like for the late, great Virgil? Or no?
Wait, what?
Never mind. Okay, so it was Logan, Virgil, you're Virgil, Vance was Logan. So, okay, you don't have to explain to other people. So what was the scenario you guys were all in?
So the scenario was like, it's hard to describe. It was like basically in the living room family type situation.
In the living room type situation?
Yeah, like when you're hanging out with your friends in the living room, like that was what the role play was based off of.
Okay, and what were you guys talking about, like in the living room?
Well, all sorts of things. We also played games like Dress to Impress, or I also streamed Doki Doki Literature Club one time.
Again, that's not a game that a 14-year-old really should be looking at, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of 14-year-olds were obviously watching people play it. And by the way, yeah, you got me. I had to go out and I'm in a different outfit now. I get it, right? I don't want all the comments to be about that, right? Yes, you got me. Red-handed or red-shirted. And even though we're hearing it from Phibz's perspective here, so obviously they're going to give the most charitable version of events to protect themselves, there's obviously still things that are fucked up about what they're doing. And that is something that should be mentioned, I feel.
So was there ever any... Okay, let's say the roles were reversed, right? You're the 14-year-old girl and Vance is 19, right? Would you... Do you think you would feel kind of like, oh man, maybe this is a little kind of grooming? Like if the roles were reversed?
What? Grooming? Why? How is this grooming? I get it. Maybe it's a question and he doesn't actually think that there's any grooming involved here. But how is a 19-year-old just being in a Discord call with a 14-year-old grooming? Like, grooming, you need to have the very specific intent, the special intent to actually groom someone. Yeah, it doesn't always need to be like a sexual thing. There are other types of grooming. But I don't think that's a fair accusation to just throw out there. And again, to be fair, I'm not sure that he's making that accusation. And you know what? We'll hear the answer to the question, I guess.
I mean, I can always see where the other person is coming from. My words can get easily misunderstood, especially under a lot of pressure. Because when I'm under a lot of pressure, I usually mess up my words. And it's hard to understand.
Okay, so do you think you might have said something that, like, he misconstrued it for something else?
Yes, that could highly be possible. I would need to double check DMs, but...
So what do you think it was that you said?
Yeah, thing is, Phibz should definitely be taking more accountability here. I understand why they're not, because the internet is unable, as we've learned, to interpret nuance. They all think that this fucking anonymous kid, I don't know his name, some miscellaneous guy, is like this huge fan of CP because of this stupid anime bullshit. So I understand why Phibz isn't giving people an inch here, because they will take 10 fucking miles back. But just for me, in my rational mind, I'm thinking like it would be so much better and easier to listen to if Phibz sat there and went, you know what? I really did fuck up. I shouldn't have been talking to a 14-year-old at all. I should have paid more attention to the roles and how old these people were. I wasn't acting appropriately. It sucks that I made this kid uncomfortable. However, the accusations of grooming and pedophilia and supporting CP that are being levied against me are unfounded and incredibly unfair. Like, if Phibz said that, I don't think I would have any complaints about their behavior here at all. Like, I'd be like, you know what, mate? Fucking fair enough. But at the same time, I still hold to what I said in the last video, which is you should not be on the fucking internet. Like, just go away, live your life, get a job outside of the internet where you can, like, learn to socialize with people, hopefully, and just chill, man. You don't need to be online. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone around you either. Like, look at the stress this has caused not just you, but your whole family, your friends as well. Like, it's just not, it's not a life that everyone needs to lead. As much as part of the job of being someone online is painting out to be like a really cushy lifestyle, like all jobs, there are drawbacks and there are negatives that some people are worse at handling than others.
We had one-on-one discussions with Vance.
Okay, so what would you and Vance talk about when you guys would be one-on-one?
Hold on, I'll give you an example.
Okay, yeah.
So this was on a day. Vance, hi, I just woke up. And then I was like, because the day before they were like kind of off, so I was all like, well, I hope you're okay. And they're all like, I've been worse, honestly. I don't really care. I was all like, okay, just please stay safe. And then I gave them a Virgil edit because they like Virgil.
That's your character.
Yeah.
So how does Virgil dress when you do Virgil?
Kind of emo.
Kind of emo, okay. Is it
in my cosplay?
In your cosplay, okay.
Because mostly I did closeted cosplays, so.
So what would Vance cosplay as well?
Not like during this duration, but they have cosplayed as Logan before.
And what does Logan dress up as usually?
He has a black, so coming from memory, black shirt, tie, glasses, you know. Yeah, black shirt, blue tie, black glasses, pretty much. Okay,
so it never got unrevealed, like nothing strapped down or nothing. So I mean, have you been thinking about like legally coming after some of these people making these allegations?
I wouldn't know how I would go about that.
Nothing. Do you know what defamation means?
Mm-mm.
You don't? Okay, so defamation is like, let's say I was like, Phibz, you're a great person. And everybody's like, no, we all know Phibz is not a great person. And you're like, oh no, you're lying on my name. You could sue me for defamation, and you can pretty much win. You know what I mean? And you can get like a monetary...
This is the worst... What is this explanation of what defamation is? That is the worst explanation ever. You're a great person. No, you're not. Oh, I'm going to sue you and I can pretty much win. Just define it. Like, I understand that all definitions are circular to an extent, but you can just say defamation is when someone makes false claims about you that are false enough to a point to where they've damaged your career enough to where you feel as though suing them is appropriate. And hey, guess what? If a panel of juries also agree that it was inappropriate, then you might win and be rewarded financially for at least the amount that you feel as though you have lost based upon these slanderous accusations. It doesn't really take, a wordsmith to come up with a decent definition for defamation and lawsuits, for example. But whatever, I suppose you're not a great person is enough grounds to sue someone, which technically you can sue anyone for anything at any time, but that would be the shittest lawsuit ever.
That's just an example of what that is. But, I mean... my bad.
Wait, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was saying, wouldn't that need a lawyer, which costs money, which I don't have that money?
Yeah, it could possibly cost lawyers. I mean, but you have over 1 million followers. Like, Like, when did you first
They
start?
actually have over 3 million now. It's fucking insane. Like, they are no longer niche. And this is like private. Like, this just goes to show like just how many people are actually paying attention to this. I cannot fucking believe that they have over 3 million followers now on a private account. It makes me almost think that someone, I don't know if Phibz is doing it themselves, I would wager to guess not, but it makes me feel as though someone's buying them likes. Or buying them followers, rather. I don't know, it was like some sort of sick prank. But if it's real, then that is like, that's unfounded. I've never seen something like that ever. Unless it's like a Billie Eilish or something. But, you know, there's Billie Eilish and Phibz. There's a couple steps removed there in terms of popularity. So yeah, I never would have expected this in a million years. But Gideon should know this. Followers doesn't equal money. Especially when they had like 60,000 followers a matter of weeks ago. It's not as though they're posting very often now. And it's not as though the posts that they do make are over a minute long.
So you're really like an overnight sensation.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh my gosh, that's so this has been probably like hard for you to like navigate kind of like this new fame.
Oh yeah, it definitely like took some time to get where I am now, where it's just all like anyone that I see posting anything like regarding allegations is immediate block. I have my friend requests and my messages requests like off, so I can't see those. And then I have my comments to my friends only, like people I have mutualed with.
So those are all good steps to take in my opinion, and I really do hope that it is positively impacting their mental health, because I do feel very bad for them regarding this whole situation and just how much they're being fucking harassed. But again, I would say that as much as they are taking those steps to limit how negatively they can be impacted by the internet, I don't think it truly is enough. I think ideally you would just delete TikTok as a whole. You would delete Twitter as a whole. You would probably delete Instagram at this point as a whole. Like, you do not need this in your life. Give it some time, then maybe re-download Instagram for purely a personal account and just chat to your friends or something. But stuff like TikTok and that, where like you know you're going to be seeing yourself, at least for the foreseeable future, no point having that around in my opinion. Because there's no point in you making a return. I understand that me giving this advice and saying don't come back to TikTok, do not try and make this a career, at least right now, is largely useless because it's not advice that they are going to follow, most likely. I don't even know if they're going to be seeing this video, and I don't blame them necessarily, because if I were Phibz, I would not be watching any of the coverage on me. It would just annoy me too much. But Phibz, if you are watching this, like, I could not recommend getting off the internet for a long time enough.
Okay. Do you have
Telegram? No.
You have Signal?
Signal. Let me see. Let me double check. Yep.
Oh, you have Signal? Okay. What do you be doing on Signal?
For those interested, these are two very popular CSAM sharing apps. So they're quite discreet. Yeah, CSAM gets shared a lot on Telegram and Signal, from what I'm aware of. A lot of drug stuff as well. It's basically just sort of covert shit a lot of the time.
I'd just be testing my mom and my family on Signal.
Really? Are any of your friends on Signal?
No.
No? Okay. I know when my dad downloaded Signal, like, he got added in, like, a bunch of just weird group chats, and, you know, people were sending him stuff that he did not want and had to get that stuff deleted for him. Like, has that ever happened to you where, like, you know, you're getting added into some group chats where it's like, whoa, okay, I did not sign up for this?
No.
No.
Also, if you need proof that I'm testing only family, I can show you my Signal app.
No, I believe you. I'm gonna trust you genuinely. I'm gonna trust you on that.
And I just want to say I highly respect you for going about this conversation respectfully.
Of course.
Because a lot of people who have tried to interview me have always been like disrespectful or pushy or just like in general rude.
Yeah, no, facts. I mean, I would just say this, you know, you look like the type of person where it's kind of like, you give me the vibe that sometimes we have to learn from our mistakes, right? So if you had to do it all over again, would you role play with a 14-year-old boy?
No.
You wouldn't role play with. Do you think his family would feel uncomfortable with the content being done in that role play?
No.
No. Do you think...
Okay, I enjoy this line of questioning a bit more than the last one because it sort of forces her to admit the wrongdoings that she has committed, despite the wrongdoings not being as heinous as a lot of people are claiming. I would go a little further, though, in terms of I would probably ask, would you do this again given the chance? And if the answer is no, I would ask why. Because the difference between I wouldn't do this because I don't want to get cancelled is very different from I wouldn't do this because I now understand that it's not appropriate and you shouldn't be talking to 14-year-olds in really any way if they're like a stranger for a prolonged period of time in like this in-depth manner, if that makes sense. Obviously there are exceptions, but as a general rule, I would say that that is pretty solid foundation for morals. Gideon sort of skipped past that and didn't go deeper into the why, which I'm not a fan of necessarily, but you know, I like the attempt, I do.
I feel like his family would be more uncomfortable with the fact that he was talking to a 19-year-old and the 19-year-old was talking to him back.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like as any parent would be uncomfortable with that. Like their child talking to someone way older than them.
Yeah, but, you know, I feel like they would look at the older person first, then their child, because, like you said, they're a child.
Well, yeah, that's why I listed both.
Yeah. Okay.
They would be concerned at both of them. They would say to the 14-year-old, their kid obviously, hey, don't go around chatting to 19-year-olds. But the reason why that advice is given is because there are 19-year-olds who are weird enough to actually chat back to the 14-year-olds. Like if no 19-year-old was weird at all, ever, then you wouldn't need to give that advice because it would be nebulous, it would be useless, it would be banal, right? Because we live in this ideal utopian world where no one would chat back to them in that way. Like if someone took a drink from a stranger and ended up getting spiked, then you would say, oh, you probably shouldn't take a drink from a stranger. But also, the guy who fucking spiked you is evil and fucked up, and he definitely shouldn't have done that either. And most importantly, is significantly worse in terms of what he has done compared to what you did. So yeah, the 14-year-old probably shouldn't be talking to 19-year-olds online, but the responsibility here, the main wrongdoing here, lies on the 19-year-old. And that is Phibz. That is Phibz. Phibz, who was fucked up here way more than the 14-year-old. I don't like how they're trying to shift responsibility over to the fucking kid. I don't like that. It's really bad. And it sort of displays that they haven't actually learned why what they've done is bad. Part of the reason why they haven't learned what they've done is bad might be because people are over-exaggerating it to such an extent to where they just cannot see where those conclusions are being drawn from. Because Phibz seems like, I don't know, I feel like if you really sat Phibz down and explained very clearly and concisely why what they did was fucked up, they would understand. And don't get me wrong, I know you shouldn't have to be able to do that. Or you shouldn't have to do that, right? They should just know. She's old enough to know better. You shouldn't have to lecture her like she's a fucking child on why talking to 14-year-olds is bad. But if you did, I think she would understand.
Was anybody, do you think he might have said your name, but it was maybe somebody else doing that role play who was initiating some sexual talk?
No, he definitely meant me.
So, you don't think there's, like, do you think it's unfounded? And what I mean by that, I mean what's the word? Do you think there's no evidence or he has no reasonable reason to think that role play had anything sexual about it? Do you think he has no reason to think that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so cops are involved? Have any cops came to your house or anything?
No.
No, but the cops have talked to your friends?
Not to my friends. They've just arrived at the school and talked to the staff.
And they wanted to talk to you, but you ran away?
Yes.
Okay. I guess what is, you know, I would really appreciate if you can screen record all your messages with Vance with me later.
Yeah.
If you send it to me, I promise you I'm not gonna, you know, you have my word. I'm gonna just look at it like myself. You know, I might describe different things, but I'm not gonna read it all, stuff like that, because, you know, men lie, women lie, screenshots don't. You feel me? So I feel like the best way to kind of vindicate all of this would be to do that. I got people in chat saying add Vance. I don't know, because, you know, Vance is 14, chat. You feel me? So, has he done... Oh, what were you gonna say?
And I'm not very comfortable talking to Vance, like, ever again.
I feel that. Yeah. Hey, that at least lets me know that you learn from your mistake, you know? Like, but you learn from your mistake, but do you think you really made a mistake, is the question.
Sometimes it's hard for me to tell.
And if you don't mind me asking, like, and I mean this with no disrespect, do you have any like learning disabilities or anything like that?
Yes, I have autism. I also have ADHD and a lot of like learning disabilities. I can't do math above a fourth grade level, and for reading, I can't read more than shit I don't even know at this point.
In the most respectful way possible, none of that is necessarily surprising. But again, though, I really would have liked it if Gideon let the dead air sit for a little bit when asked, because that was a great question. Do you think you did anything wrong? And they were in the middle of answering it, and then Gideon sort of steps in and saves her by asking another question. I feel like as an interviewer, when you've asked something like that, and they haven't fully answered yet, just staying silent and letting like the uncomfortable silence and awkwardness sit there for a second so that they feel pressured to keep talking and give you a better answer is a good move, because we really could have learned something about Phibz there. Like, I'm really, because this is my conclusion now, is like, as much as I'm defending her, she's not learned from her mistakes, and like, I think that's bad. This is what I mean. I don't think Phibz is a particularly good person at all. They're definitely not a very self-aware person. They're definitely not a very intelligent person. I just dispute the allegation that they're a fucking pedophile.
So you said something about fake screenshots. That just reminded me about something. There was screenshots about you talking about some 15-year-old and how you wanted to cut themselves into your arm. Are those screenshots real?
Yes, and I do admit from that time period that that wasn't directed towards anyone. I want to make that clear. But with the whole cutting myself type thing, I was very mentally ill. And I was like not seeking therapy at all. So I was actively like doing bad shit. And I do admit that doing that, like saying those sort of things in front of minors is not okay.
Were you still a minor?
No, don't fucking let them finish talking. They were actually getting somewhere there. They were in the middle of admitting fault for like the first time in this whole fucking interview. Which, like, yes, absolutely, that's like the first thing Phibz has said where I'm like, fucking fair play, finally. Like, you've brought up something that you've done that was fucked up, and you've acknowledged that it was fucked up and that you wouldn't do it again for a reason other than public backlash, right? Like, it's actually a morally abhorrent thing that you have done there. And you didn't take enough care to verify the ages of the people. No, but that's the thing, actually. You knew there were minors in the Discord and you were still saying shit like that. It's not on. It's really bad. Again, doesn't make you a pedophile by any means, but it makes you a very irresponsible person, especially with your platform on the internet. The way you use the internet is harmful, which is why ideally, like I said before, you just wouldn't be using the internet at all. You gotta, fucking live a little bit. This sounds like such a cliche, but like, go touch some grass and become an actual well-adjusted person who knows how to talk to people and socialize. If more people did that, fuck me, the world would be so much better. And like, it sounds so easy, but it's not. Developing those social skills, especially if you're someone who is neurodivergent or hasn't had to do so in the past, and also went through COVID, by the way, which fucked up a lot of people. It's really difficult to develop those sort of social skills. It's very difficult to develop self-awareness. It's very difficult to actually become a decent, well-adjusted person. It's like really fucking difficult. But it's also not really something you get a lot of credit for once you do it, which is why I don't think many people are motivated to do it, if that makes sense.
Kind of person, so.
Yeah, Phibz. So, like, from what I seen, because Vance showed me the messages and everything, and, he admitted as well that you didn't talk sexual. You said you didn't talk sexual, and then I looked in there and I saw that there wasn't anything sexual. But, to be honest, Phibz, I do this for a living, You know what I do. I catch pedophiles, I catch the worst of the worst. I catch people who are going for little children. And me personally, what all I seen is I don't see that. I genuinely, when I say this, I don't think you're a pedophile. I don't even think you're a predator, right? What I do think, though, is I think you have to be realistic with your disabilities, okay? You need to be realistic with your disabilities, and you need to know, you need to know that things can be misconstrued very fast, okay? You need to know that, and I highly advise, if, me personally, you don't need to do anything that even remotely looks sexual, even if someone's over the age of 18, because you're a popular figure, and you know you don't want to keep on ending up in headlines. You know, you're not the best at defending yourself. And you know, I'm saying this. I'm saying this. You know, it might sound harsh what I'm saying, but you know,
not harsh at all.
Not harsh at all. Yeah. So, you know, just me personally, you know, genuinely looking at all of this, you know, yeah, you don't need to, you know, like, I'm gonna be honest, you know, I feel like you know too, you're a weird girl, you know.
Yeah.
You
no.
And so you just want to find people who have your same interests and are into the same things you are and whatnot. And I get that. And, you know, you should. But you also got to realize, you know, you are famous now. You're an influencer. You have over 1 million TikTok followers. People put your name in TikToks, they blow up. So you got to realize people trying to interact with you, they're not going to have your best interest in mind. You feel me? So if I were you, I would really only associate with my day ones. Like before Phibz was Phibz. Those are the people you need to be showing the most love to. Whoever was there for Phibz before you were Phibz, you need to be with those people. You need to be with those people. And you know, I see the chat saying different things, and you know, you know, it would be easy for me to be like, oh my gosh, you know, she's a pedophile. I'm gonna like moach off of this and get views. But I don't want to do that to you, because that would discredit what I do. You know what I mean? If I went out here going after you like that, I feel like in my heart of heart, I would lose all credibility, and that would be me just trying to, you know, ride the bandwagon to get views off you. And I don't want to do that. I don't. And I like, you know, now if something else comes out and, you know, it tells me otherwise, then, you know, I'm going to have to hit you with, I don't think you're a bad guy. But, you know, as of right now, for what all I've seen and everything, I just think you're a peculiar girl who, you know, was just trying to have fun, and it turned into all of this. So, you know, it's unfortunate. It sucks, but you know, it is what it is. You know, you live and you learn. But, you know, I don't think you're a pedophile. I do not.
I think that's really great. I think that's actually a very good ending for the interview, because I think he's absolutely right in everything that he said. As much as I disagree with certain aspects of the interview, I'm also here to acknowledge Gideon's not a fucking interviewer. Like, that's not his job. That's not what he's been doing this whole time. So I understand it. I'm not like... If this was like a proper fucking BBC interview, for example, or like a professional podcaster, those complaints would be a lot more sort of hammed in from me. But it's Gideon. That's not really his thing. And he is right. It would be very easy to ride off the coattails and join the bandwagon of, oh, Phibz is a pedo, because that's what every fucker else is doing. But I do really respect how he's using his platform as the biggest predator catcher on YouTube to almost, I don't know, it's like almost an attempt to save her, or like defend her to a point where, because this has changed people's minds. I've seen a lot of people talking about how because Gideon's on her side, they're going to be on her side now. And that fucking sucks, obviously, because you shouldn't need to wait for some fucker with a couple million subscribers to come up with an opinion before you can form your own. Especially when beforehand you thought, oh no, they were a pedo, and now the only new evidence you've seen is Gideon saying that she's not. And that's all it took for you to change your fucking mind. Like, with all due respect, you probably shouldn't be on the internet either, because you're just fucking stupid. But regardless, there's a lot of those people who exist, and a lot of those people's minds will have been changed by this interview, and I really appreciate that, and I think that he's done a good thing here. I think that overall this interview was a net good, as much as I have my complaints with it. There is still a couple minutes left of it though, so I'll tell you if anything noteworthy comes up.
Talk with me and seeing like both sides of everything, because it's really like a thing where everyone just wants to hop on the whole Phibz is a pedophile bandwagon without looking at both sides.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, but Phibz, we should not be role playing with minors.
I know.
You know.
I got that. It's
you know, and I understand. You know, you didn't mean no ill will, but you know, you got to think of optics. You know, you're a grown woman now. You feel me?
Yeah.
You got to move differently.
Okay, overall, yeah, same sort of thing stands that I said earlier ago. Net good for sure. Net good for the internet, net good for Phibz. I'm happy this interview took place, and I can only wish them the best in the future. And I can only really wish that they don't fucking do anything online anymore at all, because if they continue to remain online and not take any breaks, I would not be surprised if something of a similar vein to this, maybe not as bad, happens again, and people over-exaggerate it once again, because Phibz already has this reputation. And at that point, it's a little harder to defend, because, like, you should have learned your lesson at that point, you know what I mean? As much as you're still not a pedophile, it's like, you're just so dumb, you know? But hopefully that doesn't happen, of course. Like, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. But as it stands, I think that's it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.